Going, here we go, man. Have fun with it. You be good. Thank you, brother. Thanks for being here. Mikey, kill it.
Oh, my hood.
Good evening and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Backstage Pass. I am your host, Vince Edwards. You may know me from Sound Image Productions. I also have a couple closed roadie group pages on Facebook. One called Death by Loadout and the other one called The Backstage Pass. Here with me this evening is my good friend, dear good friend and co-host, Kyle Thomas. Kyle Thomas, how are you, my brother?
Great, man. Another day, another dog biscuit.
Yeah. I gotta keep you fed, man. You get like cranky without your food.
Dude, you brought me double stuffed Oreos today. I was a happy man.
They were the gluten-free kind. I worry on you. I don't want you to get too much gluten in you.
See, he didn't want me to get the beatus.
I don't really know what the gluten is, but it just sounds ominous. And I was thinking, I got to keep care of my friends, make sure they got the sugar rushes they need during that midday slowdown that happens, and you just grab up a yummy cookie and get it going on.
Gotta keep Tina happy. Gotta keep my tapeworm happy.
I had made a promise to you about 40 shows ago. It was about 40 shows ago, so that'd be almost a year. That I would not let her go hungry.
Dude.
You can't lie.
We're on episode 84 now, and Tina has not gone hungry.
And that's not counting the 6 we threw away because they were awful. So it's more like 90 shows, but yeah, 84 available to view, and it's been a blast doing them with you. Thank you for staying true and coming and doing this with us. We appreciate you. We've also appreciated Bernie Broderick filling in when you were out on tour, or Winston Dama showed up and helped out.
Absolutely.
We're lucky to have blessed with some really great friends, some very, very clever, fun people. What do you got going on this week, big boy?
Man, I would just like to thank Scott Perlman first off for last week's amazing show.
I fucked up, and I was supposed to call Scotty back. We were in that production meeting today, and I forgot to call him back because I got 70 other things going on. But he is a main priority, important person to me, and I do want to thank you, Scotty, for coming on. I love you, brother. Scotty is one of the most accomplished. He's one of the few guys that can be front of house for one of the biggest bands in the world, and also handle the PM work and handle the TM work. He just is that guy, and when you're on a job with him, you just want to please him. You do not want to let him down, and I appreciate the shit out of him coming on. We had a little bit of a weak Wi-Fi thing going on, but I always enjoy time to talk to him. So thank you, Scotty, and I'll reach out to you tomorrow, brother. My bad for not calling you back.
It was super cool. I've heard so many stories throughout working for Sound Image just about Scott, and hearing him talk and hearing some of his stories and his little mannerisms was fucking incredible. It was awesome.
He's a great guy and truly a legend in this business, and we're just really grateful that he was on last week. So again, Absolutely. I'll call you tomorrow, brother.
So we have a new SXL in the building.
Yeah.
We got a nice 24C. It's in the house, it's set up, and it's ready to do some damage. I think we're doing some more training on it. It's left in a room kind of off to the side right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely nice to see another Avid desk in the building.
Yeah. We got some plans for it to do some training on it. Maybe have Robert check in with us, and of course we're lucky enough to have Greg Price and Brad Maddox lingering around the building too. So every so often we can tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, what would you do in this moment? And yeah. I mean, we had some of that today, but we were doing it the other way. We were actually doing it us to them because they had some folks in here. They were training. At first, I thought that was soundgirls.com. I think it was some other entity. It turns out it was 4 young ladies, interns here, doing a little kind of, I guess you'd say, a beginner's class in mixology, as it were. Pretty lucky batch of girls to be
I'm about to say that's a real luck.
4 young people getting to come in and get to hang out for 4 hours with Greg Price in front of a brand new board. Awesome, freaking cool as hell. So good for them. They were lovely. They were nice young people, and Greg seemed to get a kick out of it. He likes to impart his information, his knowledge, his vast knowledge. So it was a really nice thing. It was great to see him in here, and I guess there is yet still other folks coming along down the pike that were actually scheduled earlier in the year, kind of pre-COVID, that will have ended up showing up here from Sound Girls as well. So yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah, COVID's kind of thrown a wrench in a lot of their training, I think.
Yeah.
because they do like to get really involved. As talented and how many years they have accumulatively between the two of them, how much they are willing to share is like amazing.
It's 80 years between the two of them, 35 and 44 respectively, and and they're two of the legends in their game. So, fuck.
Yeah, and you brought up Robert Scoville. I mean, he's been a large part of that, our training. So when we can't bounce a question off of Brad or Greg. Scoville is always open, and we've been doing these once a month trainings for a while now.
Yeah.
He still has his lab going. I think it's every Friday, 4:20 Eastern Mountain Time.
I think it's Mountain Time, Central Mountain Time.
Oh, Central, sorry.
Yeah.
Eastern, yeah.
But yeah, you're right about that. And then he's got his back lounge on most Thursdays.
Yeah.
I think it's at 4, or is that 4:22?
Maybe that's 4:22.
He's the healthiest guy I know. I have no idea what his shtick is with the 420. He does triathlons, and he does. I'm sure he's not 420 in anything. So
he's been really helpful trying to get more information from Avid when we need some tech support here and there, and it's really great to have him on our side and able to reach out at least once a month. So
he's an awesome guy. We can ask for more as a friend, and kind of somebody that a compadre in this whole mission. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and I'm sure we're gonna brag him in a little bit because we got a little install going on at the Great American Music Hall in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Redoing their PA, I think D&B systems going in, and some nice Avid desks as well. So I'm sure we'll be chatting with them.
I think they're even getting up to 30 fixtures and the lighting, and a bunch of truss and so on. So it's a full integration, and we're happy to have the work. And so it's super good. I guess we got a few things like that. 3 or 4 are kind of all happening coming to fruition this week, and they'll be starting to be scheduled. I know, gear is being ordered, so you guys are going to be busy for a minute. Yeah,
the Great American is one of those places I've seen so many shows, and we did the install. I'm imagine, I don't know, before I was at Sound Image, but it is a nice PA that's in there, but a little dated. And they want to do a lot of draw a lot of attention to the main aesthetics of the building, which is the ceiling, all the work that they've done. And I don't know how old that building is, but
I'm not sure.
Sure, it's really old, and the lighting I'm sure is going to accent a bunch of kind of those features.
I'm sure you're right. Yeah.
So ideas, smaller boxes, get some better coverage.
I'm always happy to see when owners of venues take and update their stuff. Oh, Catalyst, a place that I can't tell you how many shows I've done there. Can't even guess.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Santa Cruz, 800-seater, 800-seater. It's that place you see bands coming up and coming down. Everybody plays there, and they reached out and they want to do some stuff. We've already ordered their gear. We've got the contract signed, great things. So another shop, another house out of Santa Cruz, California, world famous place really, the Catalyst. And so we're going in there in the next week or two, and same thing. I mean, it's just great news.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, brother.
So we also set up this 36-foot tall speaker tower. I hung a sandbag off of it, which I think we have a small video of. Maybe not.
I gave Mikey a picture. I'm not sure if he had a chance to pull it down.
But it's a nice rig, a big applied rig. Those are going to be going out. We got a set of Anyas that are going to go out and kind of get tested for another big festival situation for this summer.
Yeah.
I believe we're also getting a set of autos in the building very soon.
That's right. It's going to go with that system.
Very excited about.
I think we'll have that by the 20th, and then we'll push them together since they are cousins, and it will be a beautiful marriage.
Yeah, seeing those two things fly next to each other would be really nice.
Yeah, super good.
We're also getting ready for packages to get shipped out to everybody. I think the majority of them got out for the holidays.
Well, a little later than that, but so you're talking about we got some new merch, and we were just trying it out because we don't really get down too much or as much as we'd like, and we reached out to one of our friends to do some hoodies for us, and he got them knocked out. Jason Martinez from the Infirmities, the singer for the Infirmities, also known as Mr. Hat, the graphic designer, and he got us 25 of them. and a picture got out. And so some people reached out, but I felt like the people that watch this show that are coming in and tuning in right now, I can't see that, by the way, but the Scott Cheneys and Charlie's and Ricky and, you know, the William Snoopy Forquay and, you know, all these people, the Pat O'Douls and just the people that watch the show regularly, we just thought, you know, first of all, I had to give some to the crew, obviously. And so we thought we'd just send them out as presents. You know, people were offering to send us money and stuff. It's super nice. We'll get another batch of them, but so we ended up sending them out to the long-term viewers, let's call them.
Yeah.
And so you guys should be getting stuff in the mail here in the next few days. Take a look, see what you think. They're a little obnoxious. It's a big giant picture of my face in the back of it.
It's fucking awesome.
It's the thing behind me.
We were gonna have a really great picture. It was super great. It was when we first gave them out to everybody in the shop. We're all lined up, but somebody's butt cheeks were out. He'll name nameless, but.
Eat your chicken.
It was awesome.
Somebody
we had a
ruined
bunch of
this
pictures.
killer picture. There's like 12 dudes wearing my shirt, my jacket. You have to imagine it. So they've all walked away from it. He tells them, go walk over there and we'll take a picture. And so I'm standing there talking to somebody and they all walk away. And all of a sudden I see 12 of my faces looking right at me. It was so freaking weird. Yeah, I felt like a serious narcissism attack.
You did this. You created it.
Yeah. So, but then we were going to take a picture at his suggestion, which I thought was a great suggestion, and we weren't able to capture the picture, so we don't have that, or you're not going to see it at least.
It might end up on the Death by Loadout or something.
Or Playgirl, you know.
Jesus.
So wrong. So it was, yeah, so we had fun with that. That's that. All right, moving on.
All right, so we also got to catch up with Greg Price a little bit, say hi today.
He has been working his ass off the last 3 months. You know, he picked up that new client. I guess we could probably tell him who that is.
I don't know. Can we speak on that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So Greg Price is one of our dearest friends. I think he left for the day, but yeah, he lives right here in the building. And he ended up picking up the Metallica gig. So he's front of house Metallica now, taking over for Big Mick, at least for a minute. I'm not sure what Big Mick's situation is, but we wish the best to Big Mick, of course. But so Greg Price just did that big Amazon thing down the street. That was a pretty great show. We had a lot of crazy mixing going on in that 360 setup. Me and him had long talks about it, but he was super stressing because, you know, he just wants everything to be perfect. You know, Greg is.
Oh, yeah.
And
it was awesome talking to just some of the local 16 guys and Bob Powers.
killed
Seeing some of
that.
the pictures of that was just incredible.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 200 plus points.
208 points, 195,000 pounds. It was a big fucking show. 40,000 people live, 1 million people over streaming. So, you know, there's a lot of responsibility going on there. He did a bunch of shows running up to that to get it all strong and good. And it was a great time, you know. Picks were had by all. You know, the 40th, they're great little picks. You know, Metallica puts the money on, man. You give it that. You got to give them credit for that, man. When they put on a show, they come big. They bring it all. They throw a lot of money at it, and they bring in badasses like Greg Price to make sure it sounds perfect. And that's what happened. And so, you know, hats off to Gregory.
Yeah.
Congratulations
We're
on
happy
getting that
you're
job.
killing it, and it was good catching up.
Yeah, super cool.
Other than that, we want to give a quick shout out to Pat O'Doul. Thank you for watching our show for so long. We miss you, and we got to have you out for a lunch here soon. So
yeah, Pat, we got some stuff for you, buddy. You got to come and we'll collect you up and have you come out and have lunch, spend the day. It would be really awesome. Pat's one of the best.
definitely. And like I said, it's amazing. We're on episode 84, and it has been an absolute pleasure getting there.
You're sweetie. That's very, very nice. You got to admit, they haven't all been pleasure, but most of them have been pretty great.
You know what? Right now, it's starting to warm up. It's been absolutely freezing in our shop, so it's nice. I can stay.
You
not
took
in
the
a
jacket off.
I took the jacket off. I'm usually the first person to be like, "Fuck that! I'm keeping the jacket."
Yeah,
on.
you did good. No, you're killing it, man. All right, listen, we got this badass here on the TV with us tonight, and I want to share him with the people. You're gonna help me talk to him about some stuff tonight when we talk.
I hope so. You got the golden nugget.
Yeah,
man.
he's
the
a
golden
badass, and he thinks he's hanging with us all badass, and we think we're hanging with the badass.
Yeah, right.
It's
We're like, we're not worthy.
Super
We're not
cool. Well, I'm fucking totally worthy, but
I'll speak for
he is
myself,
super
though.
worthy himself. And let me get down to introducing him. Thank you, brother. It was great. Great catching up. Our guest this week has run and worked in many venues. He has toured and mixed, over a better part of 20 years solid. He's a co-host on one of the best shows that talks about the industry, in my opinion. That's the guys over there at Signal and Noise Podcast. They've got, I want to say, 130 episodes. I think they just hit their 500,000th mark with the likes and the love. They get a very good viewership. It's a great, great show. I suggest you check it out. He's the operation manager currently working at Gateway Studios Production and Services. And we're going to talk to him about his history working and doing what he does. It's the one and only Kyle Chirnside. How are you, brother?
Yeah, man. Hanging out. I love your guys' green room. It looks just like my house. You guys set up everything perfect.
I wanted you to be
you guys
comfortable.
even kind of cleaned up. Yeah, it looks nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
You have one of the nicest green rooms. I thought like Kimmel was good, but
no.
fuck that. This is the jam.
Yeah. We're really glad you're happy.
You left the whiskey I like and everything. It's crazy. You guys really know how to treat some people.
Well,
thank you guys for having me on, man. Like, this is such a small community of folks, and to be able to jump around to 4, 5, 6 different podcasts with all the people that I've always looked up to is insane to me. Like, I still feel like I talked to you a couple of days and I'm just like, I feel like this crappy punk rock metal kid from St. Louis that grew up on the heels of all you guys. So, Pooch and Raybold's back on. They put out a new one today. You guys are rolling every week. Like the MXU dudes had a rap bus. Bro, I made 2 best friends, and Chris Leonard and Michael Lawrence, and I could not be happier right now. It's like the light's shining down, dude. Whatever I did, sorry, but it's starting to work out, man. That's good. Thanks for having me on.
No, it's an absolute pleasure, and I'm so glad that things are working well for you. It seems like the COVID thing made the world kind of closer in some ways with the technology. We all some of us folks that have a lot of access to technology and smart youngsters around that know what the hell to do with it.
Yeah, man.
We just started reaching out to our friends, and then started bringing us all together. And like you said, it's been really, really nice. And I couldn't agree with you more with some of the heads that we are out there. I don't feel like, I'm not sure, I want to get your take on this. I don't really feel in competition with Pooch or Tater and the guys. They've been on the show. They're my brothers, and I want to support their show. And hopefully, when we do this, Chris has been on the show, and I'm hoping I'll get Michael on someday soon. Yeah, and it's a little fascinating, a lot of fun, and it's also neat to see our different approaches to it.
And we're all doing different stuff, which is really cool. It's like you can grab so much different things from all the different audio podcasts that are out. Like I even did Sound on Sound with one of my friends, Greg, who lives above me in Iowa, and it was just cool to have like different rationale and different ways of going things. Like when you were telling me, we wanted to be like the Jimmy Carson variety show for the industry. That's exactly what we need, man. Like, and Pooch and Raybold do a lot of teaching and a lot of technique.
That's right.
And MXU, same thing. Like they're into technique and technology and moving forward. We do a lot of things where we try to go out of the box and do theater and broadcast. I mean, Jeff Hawley from Allen and Heath kind of on one of our podcasts said this thing where he's like, if you sell a music stand, you're in the music business.
That's right.
And we kind of took that to heart, where everybody has a map to where they want to go. And maybe that map is just selling guitars at Guitar Center, but hey, bud, you're in the music business.
That's right.
You are.
That's right.
And now we're all accessible. Dude, I get to watch Greg Price talk about consoles and Raybold, and are you kidding me? Chris from MXU, like those dudes are masterminds. And when we were kids listening to punk rock and metal, we had to figure out on our own, and it was standing behind the guy at the console at the show. Do I want to watch Chuck Billy from Testament, or do I want to watch the guy mix it? You know what I mean? Like, it was a hard decision for us kids when we were young. So the accessibility is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Well, you know, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a time when that standing behind the shoulder and watching things, there was guys that would run you off. They didn't want you to know their shit. There was a time
I've been ran off
when it was a secret sauce, and people would initialize their boards before they would go on, and you know, if you were sharing some festival type setup or multi-band situation, there was a thing. And now I haven't seen. I don't think there's anybody I can think of that plays that shit anymore. I got Brad Maddox in here. This is Rush's guy. 23 years with Rush. I mean, come on, you know. And I can tell. Go up to Brad Maddox. I did 3 hours ago and have a talk with him about some mixing philosophy and some, you know, use of, I think in this case, we were talking about reverb, and, you know, and get right in Brad Maddox's head, and he's sitting here just offering up his special approach to a thing like that. It's amazing. Yeah.
We've actually legitimized a job, and I probably spent my first 5 to 10 years of my career trying to legitimize my job to my parents, you know, because at some point we were just roadies. You know, you could go to school for broadcast and studio work, but you couldn't go to school or have a learning facilitation of live audio. We were just roadies.
Yeah.
And I don't think anyone realized how hard those roadies were working. They were setting up the PA. They were driving the truck. They were running their own cable. Like, they were building scaffolding. You know what I mean? So hats off to those pioneers that kind of paved the way to where we're at now with technology. Like, and I will say this, Greg Price showed me one thing, and I will never forget it. He showed me Good Cop, Bad Cop. You probably know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And immediately after he showed me, I went and tried it on my next show, and I failed miserably, but I kept trying. I love that shit now. Yeah,
it's an acquired thing. You get it when you get it, you know? Yeah, no, it's funny. We were talking about, I probably shouldn't go into it. Yes, that came up today. That came up, Good Cop, Bad Cop came up today. It's one of his favorite techniques, and you know, I'm glad that you enjoy Greg as much as I do. He, to me, is a national treasure and a friggin' brother and a half, and probably one of the top 3 engineers in the world. Enough said. Love that dude. Hey, listen, I'm really digging what you guys are doing over there at Signal to Noise Podcast. You, Chris and Mike, you guys really you seem to have a camaraderie, a chemistry. I know that you guys have become quick friends, and that you were doing the show without having really had even met each other completely, and you got together, and I watched the whole kind of incarnation of that, and it seemed so natural, and like you guys were just like brothers, and I really enjoy what you guys are doing. How did you get hooked up with the boys from Signal to Noise?
So Keith Clark from ProSoundWeb, Live Sound International, did my first interview for Mix Magazine when I was a kid, and he kind of broke me into where I kind of was laying out this thing for my career. Like, I always thought I was just going to be, you know, the house guy or touring a van. And that was the thing that my parents like legitimized my career. So down the road, I meet this kid named Mike Lawrence, and I think I called him Matt Lawrence a whole bunch of times the first time I met him. But we did this student summit at a university here in St. Louis. I had moved away after a while of living in St. Louis. Every kid's dream is to move away from where they grew up. So I went to Phoenix. I went to Las Vegas. I spent a lot of time out there in the desert, and I'd come home for this Webster University AES student summit, and Michael was on a couple panels with me, and I was always late. I was always that dude. I'd had to crack a joke before I sat down, you know, and me and him just hit it off. And he was like, holy cow, you're the Midas guy. I watch your videos on how to operate the Pro Series. And I was like, yeah, man, that's me. You know, I didn't think nobody watched those things, you know, or whatever. And we started talking, and he was like, hey, man, I want you to come on the podcast. And he talked to Keith, and through some findangling, that ended up being Keith's last episode. And he basically brought me on as a host. It was like episode 7. And the dynamic changed. Like you said, it did. Michael is super smart.
Yeah.
He is brilliant, and he likes to prove himself right or wrong, and he likes to do that with everything he does, and he's very tactile. He doesn't make a move unless he knows he's going to make that move before he does it. And I am the exact opposite. I'm a painter. I like to go outside the lines. I like to put colors there that are not supposed to be there. So him and I started interviewing people, and even in our interview process, it became a good way to keep people engaged, I think, because the variety of people that we started to get on, like we had Howard Page. That dude used to make me sweat. Like he'd come out to my shows and sit behind me, and I'd have sweat rings. Like I'd be constantly moving because fucking Howard Page is sitting behind me.
Yeah. Get that way around Buford Jones.
Dude, same way. Like,
I know what you mean, bro.
we kind of got to a level, and then Chris was cool because he kind of came in with this whole like vision, because he had listened to the show and he wanted to take the marketing a little bit different. And we all know that the trade magazines have kind of went by the wayside. Like you still get one, it sits on your coffee table in your waiting area. Someone will pick it up and look at it before they get called back to hang out with you guys.
That's right.
But digital media and podcasts and videos and that had started to take over the industry. So Chris had a lot of good background in that stuff. And he's also worked for MSI in Maryland. He did some touring. He moved over to Philly to work for IMS. And like you said, man, it's so weird because we were just talking about this last night. They're my best friends.
Yeah.
Like, and I've only been in the room with those dudes once.
Yeah, I know.
Once. And we have a text chat that goes back and forth. Like they're texting me right now because they're watching the show. But it's amazing the dynamic that we can come up with. Now we're at like 1:30, and I go back through and I listen, and sometimes I feel like I become comic relief because these guys get into it. You know, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
I kind of like that. I think it's good. And you actually do serve as comic relief in some cases. That's for real. But yeah, you also bring a lot of deep shit too.
Yeah, and they said that last night on the show.
Yeah.
They were like, man, you got to give Kyle like about 20 minutes and then he's going to come up with some really prophetic shit.
Yeah, it's true, dude. I've watched the show. That's exactly what happens. Yeah, it's cool. The dynamic, is the energy between you is real. We
never imagined this fence.
Yeah.
Like I watched you guys. I still watch you guys. Like Kyle, you see me chime in, like I'll jump in every once in a while and come back and watch episodes and stuff, because you guys are doing a lot of my heroes as well. And I listen to our show and I'm like, wow, it actually sounds like we kind of planned this thing out, but we don't. It's like us dudes sitting around talking. And we realized with this platform, and you can kind of see where I'm going, is I saw this button on Facebook and it was like, hey, do you want to create a program so people can like use mentorship? And I didn't really think about it. I was like, yeah, why not? Click. And by accident, we came up with a mission that we're going to kind of help change the face of way audio progresses, and we want to be a part of that, just like Greg is with those girls from Wham that came in. Just like Erin Lan, who I called you up and I vouched for, and I was like, hey man, I got this girl, she wants to be an SE and mixer, and you know, what do you think? Like,
he's talking about Lancaster.
Yeah that's a good, she's really talented.
Good kid.
And that's what we want to do, is we want to help place these people, because like you said, we used to walk up to front of house and we get shooed away. And it was disappointed, man. It really was. And to be able to give the kid the good cop, bad cop, and I'm talking about me right now, give that kid good cop, bad cop, you just armed them with a weapon that's going to give you merit in this business. And that is way more important than anything I've hung on my wall or sat behind me or said or whatever, is being able to give those kids an ounce of merit so they can go and prove themselves and get in this business and do better than we did.
That is a very, very kind approach, and it benefits us all. At this point of our careers, I know that I really know that at some point I'm going to need to sit myself down in a chair and watch from a distance, and I really love what we do. I believe in what we do, and so I think it's incumbent upon us to impart the things that we picked up in the many decades and share that with the younger people, and that's what we're doing now. That's the gray hair stuff. It's our job. It's what we're supposed to do, and so. I'm very grateful when I get an opportunity like you and you call me up and say, hey, there's somebody coming to your area that's qualified. I feel good about this person, give them a shot. And we did that, and it worked out real good so far. We've been very pleased. Unfortunately, she does have COVID right now, but she's fine. She just had a quarantine situation. But yeah, it's been worked out really good. What do people have to do? So basically you're saying signal to noise. You started a mentorship program with your podcast and your podcast mates. And
by accident.
By accident. I saw that button too. That button keeps coming up on my groups. And I just think to myself, yeah, you don't have time for one more thing.
No.
Running a business and doing a show and trying to be in a love life and, the best woman in the world, all that.
I get it, dude. I'm a dad. I'm going to be a soccer coach here soon. Like I have other agendas, but like if those folks that I mentioned from all the other podcasts are watching the show, and you guys included, if you need to get somebody where they need to get them over to us, because we brought on a bunch of our guests. Yeah. Andrew Stokely, who mixes the Blue Jays and the Maple Leafs, audio engineer from Canada. He's taken on mentors. Chad Olick from Fallout Boy is taking on mentors.
Chad's doing that? That's awesome. So that's awesome.
We've inspired these guys and girls who've been doing this for a while. Michelle Sabachik, Carrie Kais, like
sure.
If we can place somebody, like Michael has always had this theory growing through this business that if I have a question, I'm just going to call him. And he has no barrier. Like, oh, Howard Page, I'll find his phone number and I'll get a hold of him. And it's worked out for him. And we're using that. I call it myself because the dynamic of the show. It's my friendship program because I'm not mentoring these people really. I give them the information they need, and then I get something back from them. I talked to this girl, Sam, today. She works for SES Systems in South Carolina, and she's actually just got a job with Claire.
Oh, wow. Good for her.
So she's leaving in a few weeks. So she called and we chatted today, and she really gave me something back out of our conversation about faith and moving forward and staying positive. And so I'm not calling it mentor. I'm not your mentor anymore. We're just friends, and this thing's going to happen, and we're going to get through it together, because I need their feedback as much as they need mine. And that's how I approach it. And it's worked out. We have over 40 pairs right now of mentors and mentees.
That's great.
We do it through the Facebook group. We do it through phone. I don't like emails or
not a fan.
Shit. I like phone calls. Call me. Sure. Let's talk. I'll sit in my truck and smoke my vape pen, and we'll hash it out. And through our Discord as well has turned into something great. A couple of our co-hosts that we bring on, Willa Snow and Hannah Goodine, have now went from working at local venues to production companies to touring with great acts. Hannah just got a job with Rational Acoustics. Are you kidding me?
Very cool.
So it's working. Yeah. So I want to encourage everybody. We'll find a way to handle it. If I'm busy, Michael can talk. If Michael's busy, Chris can talk.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, we got a laundry list of guests that have been like, you guys are really doing something cool. And now they're jumping in and helping us out too, which is, thank you for that. Holy cow.
Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. If people are out there and they're interested in finding your show, it's Signal to Noise Podcast. You can get it pretty much anywhere podcasts are available. Do you have a favorite show, a guest that you just loved, that you thought the show went perfect, and one that you could recommend them they go see if they haven't seen it yet to get a sense of what you guys do?
I don't know. They're all
you got some great shows, man.
bits and pieces. Like I have my fanboy stuff for sure. Carrie Kai's is
good.
amazing.
Yeah.
Holy Cow, Howard Page show.
Yeah.
Andrew Stokely, the guys who did, I can't name them right now, but they did Hamilton, the tour. Just different aspects. Like we had a couple RF people on there that are insane. But one of my favorites, okay, and it's probably going to be a little bit narcissistic, like you said, but we all got to sit down in Dallas and kind of go over. It was for the Church Facilities Expo, and
that's right.
We did a live podcast from there, and we actually had all our folks. Samantha Potter, who does a Church Sound podcast, and she's also one of the customer support people at Allen and Heath. She was there. Keith Clark was there. Hannah was there.
Wow.
Oh shoot, the dude from Electrosonics.
Real gathering of the tribe.
So that one's one of my favorites because I got at the end of every show, Chris came up with this thing. He wanted to basically ask everybody, you know, what they want their legacy to be. And he'd never asked Michael or himself or me about it. And I like that episode because I got to be honest with everybody. And I want everybody to hear Michael being honest and Chris being honest and myself being honest, because I think that's really the moment when I looked at those dudes and I was like, holy shit, these guys got my back. Like I felt like that punk rock kid standing outside, you know, meeting up with his boys to go in and mosh and have a good time and try to head walk and try not to get kicked out and save your boy from getting kicked out. Like I had that feeling again at almost 50 years old. And it was enlightening to me. So the Church Facilities Expo podcast, I think it's like 110 or something like that.
Yeah, it's over 100. I know that. But yeah, I know the one you're talking about. That one, that was a real love fest. I highly recommend that episode too. Good for you. Anybody that you haven't been able to interview yet that's on your wish list?
I got a couple coming up, and one is super funny. You might even know him. Jason Petrie. He's the house engineer at the House of Blues Orlando. He's been there forever, but his nickname is Baby Food. Do you know Baby Food?
I don't think I know Baby Food. I'd remember the Baby Food thing.
and I just set him up today. He actually works for he freelances for Rat, and he was the front of house dude on one of the main stages for Warped Tour for like 2005 until the end.
Wow.
So he was the dude that you would go and get passed off to at front of house for Warped Tour from 2005 until whatever. Like
I guarantee you I've met this guy. Then there's no two ways about it. I did Tool stuff with Warped. I Suicidal with Warped. Yeah, I've met him. Yeah.
Yeah, so he is the dude. So if you're on that Facebook group, Sleeping Roadies, or the Roadies Sleeping one, he's one of the dudes that always gets a picture taken of him sleeping.
Awesome. That's fucking awesome.
That's just like
really
he's my dude. So
right on.
Who else? I mean, we've had Scove, we've had Greg and Maddox, we've had Raybold, we've had Pooch, we've had Tater. Like,
yeah, you guys have been killing it. Carrie, like you said. Yeah. My new favorite is Brandon Blackwell. Ooh.
And Brandon is mixing Kendrick Lamar. Yeah, and he's just a kid, and his ideas and the way that he thinks is amazing. Like, I think everybody should listen to the way he talks about his map.
Yeah, that was the episode, 2 episodes ago?
It was really recent.
Yeah.
That was a really good episode. I took a lot from that.
Holy shit. I texted Chris after the episode, and I was like, Chris, tell Brandon I gotta talk to that dude. He basically started as this kid in New York City that would go out and help out an MD that was working for American Idol. And he was literally the tape down the set list guy. He was the towel guy for the band, and he ended up starting to mix monitors because some guy failed, and now he's doing Kendrick Lamar. like one of his favorite artists.
Yeah,
And
that's a huge.
just
That's
the
our
way that-
artist. Yeah, he's one of our clients. So yeah,
amazing.
very
so,
cool. Huh?
Brandon Blackwell is probably, and the cool thing about it is the emotion came out of that kid. And I think as much as ones and zeros really are important in our job,
Yeah,
like I said, you have to paint outside the lines. And I think all of us at some point are artists, and that kid paints outside the lines on purpose. And I like that a lot.
very cool. Yeah, very cool. Check this out, you guys. Go check these shows out. They're fascinating. They're a good watch. There's a lot to learn in there, and some really fun information being exchanged. You came to my shop one time. God, this has to be 4
Yes.
years ago, 4 years
And
ago.
you had delicious food for us. When you guys were talking about food, I was like, holy shit, you got some sandwiches for us from a shop down the street. And then late night, you got, was it Mexican food?
I think it was
Was
Mexican.
like,
Yeah.
dude, it was ridiculous good.
We did the
Oh my
big
God.
ranchero place, over there. Yeah.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you hang out with the Edwards brothers, they take care of you. They always hook up the
Dude.
food, man.
They're very kind of you. My mom always said that the way to a person's heart was through the food, and I think she's right. But you came in with Bose. Talk to us about, was that where you were working with Kalinowski, Glenn Kalinowski at the time?
Yeah, so that was a strange one. So
Yeah.
and was my thought process. I was with Midas for a long time as a manufacturer, and I was still going out on tour. I filled in for Bob Cowan and Jim Rose, going out with Melissa Etheridge for a little bit.
Right.
That was super fun. And I got this offer. Uli Behringer made a lot of poor decisions, obviously. I mean, and let go of a lot of people. So
He's got the director to laugh.
and
Sorry, go ahead.
well, it's crazy. Like the people that he had working with him was like heaviest hitters in audio for Midas, Tannoy,
Yeah.
Lab Group, and
Yep.
like some of the most iconic brands ever. Turbo Sound, like in its day,
That's fact.
and I didn't understand how manufacturing worked. And I had to call a bunch of people. I actually called Graham Hendry, who worked for Tannoy forever. And he was like, mate, Kale, you're going to have to, you still going to Infocom? And I was like, no, man, I'm not. I don't have a console anymore. I don't have nothing. And he was like, mate, that's where everyone gives out their CV. And I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And some of the folks from Music Tribe went over there. Ivan Schwartz, who is an integrator, amazing dude, used to work for Midas back in the day when XL3 and XL4 came out.
Yeah.
Van Williamson, who was actually the guy who hired me. David Shearman was working there at the time. And here's the thing. I didn't want to have to go to another console manufacturer. I didn't want to have people question my integrity if all of a sudden I jumped over to Allen Heath or Digico or
Yeah, sure.
Avid or whatever. Like I wanted to do something completely different. So loudspeakers was this thing. And I was like I told you before the show, it was like, they're just this thing, and there's like processing, and they all sound pretty good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I never really got into loudspeaker technology. And here's the thing. I started with Bose, and I told them, I was like, I need to have something here that makes me have a passion for the product and the people I work for, because everyone's like, oh, Bose, all highs, no lows, or whatever. I mean, everyone has their little snidey snits on the whole thing. But it was much like Midas. When I started working there, no one had flown a PA before. No one had worked a rock show before. Like, no one was really in the touring industry. I mean, David Sherman, obviously, but in his capacity as business development or whatever he was doing at the time, he wasn't really in the technical side of it. So I kind of got hired at Bose for a secret, and I can't talk about that secret because I don't know if it's ever going to happen or if it just got lost. But one, I started to hear about how Bose worked as a company and how they were owned by MIT, and Dr. Bose left, instead of leaving the company to his kids or the family, he left it to the university.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
And the work ethic of those people at Bose is unlike I've ever seen in my life. They understood family balance. They understood people make mistakes. Like, they have a library in Framingham, Massachusetts, that if you make a mistake, you don't get in trouble for it. You don't get in trouble for it. You just don't do it again. You go to this library, you write it down, you write down what the solution is, and it goes in a library in the Bose library. And I kind of took a hold of that, and I was like, holy cow. So now I have to listen to this PA. And I've heard awful things about it. I got to mix on one when I was in the UK one time, and they didn't let me fly my PA, and I was super angry that day, and it sounded like garbage, and that's all I could think about. And I flew this PA up, and I messed around, and one of the guys that I was working with had messed around with some of the settings, and he was a local audio guy, but he had an engineering degree, and he also flew planes and everything. So he was really into fixing it to the way it needed to sound. And we got it up, and this thing actually sounded pretty dang good.
Yeah, I've heard.
And I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. And so for the first, I was only there 4 months, and in that 4 months, I drove to every shop I possibly could and flew this PA up in front of industry professionals like yourself that would probably made the saying all highs, no lows, must be Bose. but I kind of freaked some people out with it. Like, people actually went, this isn't bad.
Yeah.
And that made me feel good. And it made me still have the connection with the friends that I had made from touring, from working at Midas, and everyone kind of understood it there. They're like, oh, Kyle's just doing the next thing. And then COVID hit and everything shut down, and I was unemployed. And Bose is great. They had a project in the works that I was kind of hired for in the first place. And I was really looking forward to that. And it never fruitated. So I ended up working at Home Depot, and I'm not scared to tell people that, because sometimes you got to do what you got to do to put food on the table.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I did. I went back to my punk rock roots, and I sucked it up, and I put on an orange apron with Kyle on it, and I worked in the garden center for 6 months.
Good, man. That's what a man does.
Yeah, man. Take care of your family. That's why I'm here now. Like, I moved back to St. Louis to be near my family and watch my daughter grow up, and that's my job now. Like, it's not about me anymore. Like, I'd love to go mix a show. I'd love for someone to call and be like, hey, Kyle, do you want to mix so and so? And I'd be like, yeah, I do.
He said sheepishly. You can see he's jonesing a little bit.
Yeah, don't say that loud. My lady will hear.
Yeah, right. I don't want that for you, man. I don't want any trouble for you. Well, I wanted to drag you around and talk to you about, I have all these questions. And I know you mentioned that you guys kind of wing it, and that works for you. I do a similar thing, but I need outlines, to keep me on track. I want to hit some targets in the interview. But at the same time, I don't live by them. I'm not going to lock this in like that. So you brought up an interesting subject. You brought up, so we mentioned it a little bit before, like working in the shop situation. I know you're new. It's at, remind me what the name, Gateway
Studios and Production Services.
Yes, and it looks like you got a pretty good operation going on over there. And talk to us about the transition between, like you mentioned, you kind of missed the days back when you were out with Jet, which had to be a shitload of fun. I mean, it's Jet, they rock. Or Panic at the Disco, or Fallout Boy. I know you were with them for 9 years. And now you're kind of doing the house cat thing. What kind of transitional issues have you had with that?
Different, for sure. And the cool thing about it, and this is the way I looked at it when I heard about it, and I did a little bit of research, because it was really quiet and hush hush for a while, and like even people in St. Louis weren't really talking about it. I was working for Chip at Logic and Bob at Iron Man, and still doing my freelance thing around town at some churches and helping out with my friends do some install. And I heard about this thing come up at Gateway, and I met this guy, and his name was Chris Clark, and actually Dan McLaughlin from Luke Combs, he's their RF tech and monitor assistant, told me about it. He was like, dude, you got to call Chris. And I was like, who? He's like, oh, Chris Clark. He used to work for Morris and Spectrum. He's a system tech. Like, you're going to love this dude. Yeah. And I called him up and he kind of gave me a brief rundown of what was happening over there. And he told me what he needed, which I thought was really cool. He was very, very intricate about what he needed from whoever he was going to fill the position. And I told him, I was like, hey man, I've never been an audio operations manager. My shop capacity is either walking in as the touring guy to prep my stuff or walking as the freelance guy working for you guys to help me get stuff out the door and get caddies filled and load trucks and, count cables or whatever the case may be. But as far as being the manager of a department at a production house, never done it. And one of our episodes, someone said, sometimes you don't have to hire, you got to hire the right person, not the right person for the job. And I think that's what Chris did. He saw my work ethic. He talked to me on the phone a few times. I checked his background. I was like, holy cow, he did Thomas Rhett and Hosier, and he was SE for Spectrum and Morris, which are like super reputable in the country market. Like
Morris is huge. Morris is a big deal. Kenny's place.
And he worked with Kenny. He was recommended for the position by Dave Haskell. Like,
wow.
You can't deny the situation. And I talked about it to my damn self, and I talked about it to Chris and Michael, and I was like, you know what? This is perfect. I get to go home. I mean, I'm sure there's days that I'm not going to get to go home all the time, right at 4:30 or 5 o'clock or whatever. It's a rock and roll show,
That's right.
So, but my bed is only 20 minutes away from the shop.
That's right.
And my daughter is only 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's pretty
it just
priceless.
made sense. And once I started there, I started recognizing the vision of what they were trying to complete, and it touched me differently than stuff has touched me. So this challenge, and you're one of the people that I called about it.
Yeah.
I was my question to almost all the ops guys that I've been talking to, I was like, hey man, if the wheels weren't turning, what would you do different now that you could have done back then when the wheels weren't turning?
Yeah.
And I've gotten more smiles and more callbacks just from friends because I asked that stupid question. And I feel like the mentee, and that makes me feel good. Like, it's something I don't know. Like, I can learn how to mix a console. I can learn to set up a PA. I can learn to wind a cable or pack a trunk or whatever.
Sure.
But I want to take folks. I have a passion for St. Louis. I really do. This town has had its ups and downs in the entertainment world, and it's a glorified C-D market. It really is. Mm-hmm. And I think this opportunity, they're not really playing in the local market. We're not really playing in we're not really playing in any market just yet. We're taking our time and making sure the right people are doing the right things and the right pieces are getting in the right place before we start just throwing it out there. And I can't find one company on earth, especially like I have friends that buy LED walls, and as soon as they get the LED wall in, they got to send it out like immediately. It's out the door.
Yeah, wow.
And here we're actually bringing it in, we're teching it all, we set it up, we tag it, we scan it, we put it in an inventory, and it's relaxing.
That's rough.
It's just it's a great opportunity. They're building a 132 acre facility right now that's going to be opening in 2023. And
which type of facility? Like a stadium?
So it's going to have three, what they're calling studios. One is the size of a football field with a grid. One is the size of a arena with a grid, and then one is the size of a large theater with a grid. So it'll be opportunities for bands, no matter what provider they use, to be able to come in and set up and rehearse. And
kind of a multi-use space.
Yeah, it's basically like the Rock Lit It situation. Where
that's what I'm imagining.
So
Pretty cool.
But they're also going to use it for video, TV, movie. So the vision is further than just the audio ops guy. And being in on the ground level, I think there's only like 50 employees there possibly between the two shops. One houses audio, fabrication, and rigging where I'm at, and then the other shop is lighting and video and operations.
Gotcha.
And some stuff is going out. We did our first show, which is cool. Greg Price will get this one. You can ask him how it went. We did AT Live in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Was the first full package of stuff from Gateway that went out.
Wow,
and
cool.
So the first night was headlined by George Strait and a bunch of country artists, and then the second night was headlined by Metallica and a bunch of rock artists.
Yeah.
So that was kind of our trial debut. And
Very cool.
I heard it went well. I just prepped all the gear and sent it out the door. So it's different for me, you know, like.
Yeah, you'll have to rely on reports from now on.
Yeah.
Every so often you got to show up though and, make somebody kiss the ring, just like, just let the boys know you get in the field.
No, I'm blessed to be where I'm at. And I get to walk in and see Dave Haskell walking around. Trey Kerr, who is the lighting or the video director for Fish, hangs out and he's also the CEO. Like we have a caterer. It's insane.
Great.
Like, everyone is really, really focused on this thing being operated correctly. And, I've never had that opportunity. So it's all new to me. I'm like the new kid in the shop. It's fun. It's super fun.
It sounds like they really got lucky. I think they did hire the right person for the right job, and it sounds like you're taking to it really well. Is there, you have your standard question, what would you do differently if you could do it again? Is that more or less the question?
Yeah, if the wheels weren't turning.
Yeah, the time permitted.
I used to go to, Sound Image down south.
Sure.
And see everybody prepping. Like the last time I was down there, Joel Lonke was there, Greg was there.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dave Shadone came out and hung out. Like, but I'd walk into a working shop and I'd see that. And I did it at Claire Brothers or at Claire Global too, as well. With my providers, Greg Hall and Justin Weaver and those folks up there.
Yeah.
It was like, I already saw everything in motion, how things come in the door, come in, go back through, go to storage or whatever it is. So all of those folks have been kind of an asset to answering that question of the wheels moving. So I'm kind of like living in a living Excel document right now. My warehouse is, no, I don't like this box here. We're going to put that over here. We're going to move the racks. We had an awesome fabricator. His name's Kenny. He worked down at Spectrum and Morris for a long time. So he's built a lot of really cool things for storage and accessibility and
Perfect.
Keeping things damage free.
Yeah.
And Chris Clark, I cannot say enough about this dude. Like, it is show day every day for him, whether he's in the shop or the office or out on the gig. He's one of those guys who just took a hold of this business and is going to really make an impact on the next 10 years of audio, which I think is amazing. To even work with that guy is like, I want to be his head for one day, and that's it, one day. And then I want to go back to being Kyle because that shit's funny.
Well, it sounds like you got good leadership and you got a good situation behind you, in front of you, all kinds of good work. Any questions that we can help you answer? As you got Kyle over here. He's pretty mild-mannered little guy, but Kyle's history is that he used to run Spider Ranch. Spider Ranch is quite the concern up the way, and of course I've had a little tenure. Is there anything that we can? Any questions or anything that come straight to your head? Kyle, do you got an answer to that thing? What you would do differently as an operations manager from your history in the past?
Oh my God,
That-
there's so many of them.
I'm not very.
There's so many.
I kind of blow through a
I'm
problem
totally-
that Kyle needs to hear from you, because Kyle is taking in information to expose to his situation and see what works, and he's trying to make things. He's lucky enough to be in an early stage in that thing where he can kind of create it to be what he wants it and needs it to be.
Yeah.
And insights from a person like yourself or myself that's taken this, something from the floor up and has a successful operation. Maybe we can share with him. And we're running late on time, but we need to have.
I'll say this. One thing I will note is that I was in my early 20s when I was doing this, and Kyle was a bit older and maybe could see the A, B, C, and D a little bit more clearly than I could. But I did. I mean, it took me a while. A lot of it was just like learning as I went and kind of figuring out what was appropriate timing for everything.
Sure.
As he's more discussing, like, getting the proper crew in, which is so critical. You might have the right guys, but they have to be in the right roles and doing the right thing to function in a team properly.
Right person, right job. But maybe I think he's also thinking about locations of things, operational, situational things.
Oh, yeah. Don't put heavy things
probably-
up that you have to pick up.
Yeah. And the one thing that's really bothering me right now is D-prep and getting it ready to go back out.
Yeah.
When it goes to the shelf, like, do you guys have a staging area that it goes to before it gets put back into inventory?
Absolutely.
And see, that's what I'm setting up now. Is I'm like, all right, when it comes back in the door, I'm gonna have a lane. That's gonna be my D-prep lane. It doesn't get scanned or put away until it goes through this procedure.
Yes.
And I'm going through that, and I'm trying to weigh what is the most important D-prep item that I need to get back into the shelves first. Like, speaker boxes are easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You put them in the amp, you test everything.
Yeah, you drive them real quick,
Yeah, you drive them real quick, you scan them in, you make sure it comes in, and then you push them to their location. But the D-prep and the re-prep of, like, work boxes, it's forever changing, and everyone has their list of items. Oh, SE workbox, front of house audio engineer workbox, monitor engineer workbox. Those things are like, do they really need 24 reams of AA's? Because those are going into somebody's Xbox controller. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Do they really need 8 rolls of
No, they don't.
back tape?
So,
and doing the fine thing with the expendables and hey, we're putting tracking on a $100 microphone, but how are we tracking the $200 DPAs that are super small? You know what I mean? Like, there's just like and then cleaning protocol, like, especially with COVID. I know things don't live on the things like they originally said, but giving that added protection and know that it's sanitary for use. Like, we use a lot of things that our mouths get on or our ears get on.
That's right.
And those are my things. And the gear hasn't went out enough for that to become an issue yet. But I can see once the wheels start turning, someone's going to be doing a work box and they're going to get busy and they're going to do half the generic ears. You know what I mean? Like, can't have that happen, because I don't want someone pulling out ear boogers on a show site.
Yeah.
So it's like, I look at it as, because with Spider, they had the theory of, like, no, like, that's the expendables need to be minimized as much as they can be to what the need is. Where really the issue was, that I thought the issue was getting somebody that cared about the gig and the role that they were feeding like it was theirs. You know what I mean? It's like loaning a buddy a wrench or something. It's going to come back all beat up or whatever else. They don't put it away. It's like, they don't treat it like it's theirs. Right. And that's really when it comes in. It's like, you have all this overhead. You're responsible for it. You might not need all 8 rolls, right?
Yeah.
But you try to set the guy up for success and give him a little bit more than what he needs. And he needs to be, or she needs to be, responsible enough to know and take care of it like they would if it was theirs.
Well, so I'm going to jump in here on this one. So I would say somewhere between the two of you, of course, you're going to try your best to get this all handled in the hiring process. Meaning, hire the best people. They're the most straightforward, honest, going to do the right things. I don't necessarily think when a roll of gaff or some E-tape or some batteries necessarily turn up missing. I think things go in pockets and you're running from truss to fixture to whatever. And they end up there and somehow they end up in that big pile of pins and, you know what I mean? You know the one we all got? You know, come on. And so I don't think it's like that. But if you create an opportunity where they can keep going back to if they set it down, leave a half a roll of something somewhere, and then they're closer to the utility box and they know there's 4 more rolls in there, you're creating an opportunity for me to spend a buttload of money and create irresponsible behavior. So if you create the boundaries, rules, and limitations, we all thrive on these. So you create boundaries, rules, and limitations. So if I know a show needs 4 rolls of gaff, I'm going to send them with 5. I'm always putting in a measure of backup in there. Like we call it the get out of jail free case, you know, but only so much because the shit's expensive. You want people to learn to be responsible, to utilize the resources you're given. And of course, like he said, the key word, and I couldn't agree with this more, is that we're always trying to set our people up to be successful. I want them to thrive out there. I don't want them, the job is hard enough. I want them in the unique conditions we send people out, and we send to every kind of conceivable condition. We're a full active production house. But there is a responsibility to Dave Shadone, to my brother, the boss here, you know, that we're spending the money well. And so I do control the expendables. I absolutely control the expendables. The batteries, they all are in the locked case, and they go out and they're issued as needed. And the guy can tell me, I need 4 bricks. I've got, 20 channels of wireless, and I'm going to trust him to do that. But I also know the 4 bricks are out, and I'm kind of doing some math my own self. And, 3-hour lifetime on the batteries, blah, blah. You got 20 channels. You're going to do and so I expect a certain amount to show back up. Yeah. And now I don't remember ever climbing up anybody's ass about where's all the batteries. I haven't. I don't really do that, but there is so it's a little bit of a push and pull between management and the employee and the needs of the show. And you always want the needs of the show to take precedent, of course, but you also don't want to give too much rope to people because they end up hanging you with it.
Totally.
And so I don't know. I'm a little cautious about that. It's that particular subject. I'd love to schedule a meeting with you if you got time somewhere coming in the near future for an hour on the phone on the conference room, and me and Mikey here and me and Kyle and Mikey get together with you, and we just shoot the shit and talk about process and procedures, because our property, we got quite a few of them. There's so many things that come up along the way that you realize I need to have an SOP on this. I need a standard operating procedure. And that way everybody's really understands what's required of them and what my job is to do, what I'm supposed to be providing. And it makes it a lot simpler. And that way we can all be a little more harmonious. So yeah, it's a tricky job.
I love the way the department works right now, because we all kind of live within the checks and balances of each other. Like, I don't have people that go and disappear and then come out and like everybody jumps in and does the thing. Yeah. And that's what's really cool. So we're setting a standard of, hey man, I'm not going to be in this office chair. Like, we're all going to do this thing. Nobody's too good to wind up some cable and put it, get the deprep bin done. Like, that's right. So I kind of want to keep that standard throughout the employment as well, is like, hey man, we're all in this together. If rigging needs a hand and we need to pull some truss in or sort some steel or burlap, yeah, you're not cool enough just to
never. No, I'm with you completely. That's the first guy that might not make it back on the schedule if I catch that behavior. It doesn't matter what department you're in. You're on a show site and stuff's getting torn down and you got an open hand. You need to fill it with something. That's the brother-sister system. I mean, that's just how it is. That's the right thing to do.
Hey man, I really want to thank you guys for having me on, because I did a thing the other night with the guys and I told them after the show, I was like, I'm really nervous because I feel like I'm still a student at this. I really am. I'm going to be 50 years old this year, and I'll be doing this 30 years professional this year. And I'm doing something new, and I appreciate what you guys do for the community, just like you appreciate us. And
absolutely,
the Raybolds and the Pooches and the Taters and the MXUs and the Roadie Free Radio and the Sound Girls and the Wham, like
all of them. Yes.
It's so
good community.
Amazing to work together finally and not go, all right, kid, get away, go push that case, you know, like,
Yeah.
because sometimes I still feel like that kid that's told to get away. But I know it's not happening anymore, so I don't have to worry about it. But
Well,
thank you for what you do with the community on Facebook. Thank you, Kyle, for helping Vince out over there. And Mike, I know he's behind the scenes right now.
Couldn't do it without these two. We appreciate you so much, and it was such a treat to have you on the show, my friend. Please keep making great, entertaining TV over there with your friends. We love those guys and what you're doing. Couldn't appreciate you more. And
Come do the show with us, man. Come
you
on.
know, I owe you one. You got to shit the bed on the
And then,
show.
and
I've
then
been
Kyle
on the
owes
show.
us one too. Kyle owes us one too. Like we
I
gotta
would-
have the double Kyle show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, I would love that. I would do
yeah,
that.
he's
One of
gonna
my
be
other
mean to
favorite
me.
episodes. we had another Kyle on the show, and Michael was like, "Oh, I guess you'll be Kyle number 1," and I was like, "No, I'm Kyle number 2 because I'm the fucking shit."
Yeah, I love that.
You're not wrong, brother. All right, you people, you can check out Kyle pretty much every week. How do you guys put your show out? Does it have
Every
a day
Wednesday.
it comes out every Wednesday, huh? Okay. It's
Every
a
Wednesday.
really great show. I can't say enough about it. It's very entertaining each and every time. Please reach out and avail yourself to this, you guys. Thank you, Kyle. It's such a great, just really a treat to have you on. Let's talk more in the following week. Does that work for you?
For sure.
We're going to reach
Bless
out to
you
you.
guys, man.
Appreciate you, brother.
You guys are doing it.
Send your love to your brother podcasters. Tell them we appreciate them. And
They're watching right now. They were keeping tabs on me. I know they were.
I know they've been chiming in the comments.
right on. Very cool. Thanks again, my friend. Take care. Have a great night. Thanks for staying up late with us.
Thank you, guys.
All
Thanks,
right,
Kyle.
be well. What a sweetheart of a guy. I mean, just very cool.
Oh, yeah, filled with great stories, man. That's great.
I wish I could be half as nice as him. I want to be nicer. His approach, his thinking is just, he's got a nice
You're
take
right,
on
you're pretty mean.
I'm a little mean. I need to be nicer. And I think we're joking. Yeah,
No,
so.
Vince is like one of the nicest dudes in the world.
Cuddly.
That's why his fucking table is filled with knives.
Moving on. All right. Next week, we have Ross Reliance on. We're going to bring in a guy that's, 40 years, 35 years, bus driver, truck driver in the game. He worked, I want to say 5 or 6 years at the Ryman. He's just got this crazy storied history. He's done all kinds of nutty stuff.
Bill
He's
Graham
a-
present, dude.
Bill
too.
BGP. He's going to bring in his good girl, Stephanie Perot, in here. They're going to talk with us. They're going to tell us stories, and we're going to hang out right here in the studio. We're going to do this. We do it every Thursday at 7 o'clock because we love you people. We love what we do. We come here, we hang out, we share our stories. We appreciate you coming and visiting with us. We hope you have a good evening. Until next week, we will see you. Be good to each other. Be kind. Have a great day. Good night.